So hello everyone and welcome to Career Launcher. So if you are reading the Hindu newspaper or any other English newspaper, you must have come across this news that the state of Kerala has got changed to Keralam recently. The government has notified this also. So now officially Kerala is Keralam. So we'll discuss in detail about Kerala also, and we will discuss how exactly the name of the states are changed in India. And this is very, very important because it is a burning topic. So let us start. If you see, on 25th August 2026, government notifies Keralam as a new state name for a state effective from Tuesday onwards. Okay, so basically the Union Home Ministry, the name of the ministry is also very important, has notified Keralam as the new name for the state effective Tuesday. In a gazette notification issued on Tuesday, Union Home Ministry said, in exercise of the powers conferred by subsection 2 of section 1 of Kerala Alteration of Name Act 2026. So this law was recently passed by the Parliament of India, which talked about changing the name of the state. And of course, once the law is passed by both the houses, Lok Sabha and Raj Sabha, it was given approval or the assent by the President of India. And after that, when you have to implement the law, of course, it is done by the central government. So they have actually issued the gazette notification. Once it is notified in the Gazette of India by the government, then only it is said to be implemented. So the law was passed. You can see Lok Sabha passed on 11th August. Then the next day on 12th August, Raj Sabha passed this law. The law is called as Kerala Alteration of Name Act 2026. Then later on, President signed it also. And it was notified in the Gazette of India on 25th August. So from 25th August 2026, basically Kerala is Keralam. This you should be knowing about. Now, let us talk in detail about this news because this becomes very, very important. First thing, if in one line someone asks, who has the power to change the name of the state? So the answer is Parliament of India. It is the Parliament, you can see here, who changes the name of the state. Although, of course, once the Parliament passes a law, it is approved by the President, then the government notifies it. But it is the Parliament has the main power to change the name of the state. However, we have seen a non-binding resolution. A Kerala Legislative Assembly had passed such resolution even back in 2024 that the name should be changed. But of course, these are non-binding in nature. They had passed this resolution by themselves. It was not a part of changing the name changing procedure. They had just passed a resolution, the Kerala Legislative Assembly, way back in 2024, signaling the government or signaling the central government and the Parliament that please initiate a name change motion in the Parliament or an act in the Parliament. Initiate the bill and pass the act. So basically, they had done it in 2024, and now this year, actually, the government has initiated this in the Parliament. Okay, and it was passed in both the houses, and now it has become Keralam. Okay. And we have discussed about it. The name of the act is Kerala Alteration of Name Act 2026. And of course, it was approved by the President of India. The law was passed by both the houses, then it was given assent by the President of India. The first thing is it a constitutional amendment? Yes. The Kerala Alteration of Name Act alters the state's name with necessary amendments to the Constitution. So yes, changing the name of the state is a constitutional amendment. Please watch this class entirely till last, then only you will understand the concept. Kerala Alteration of Name Act alters the state name with necessary amendments of the Constitution. So basically, it is amending the Constitution. So I'm sure you must be aware it will amend first schedule of the Indian Constitution. Okay, that's the idea. But you should know one more thing, that this constitutional amendment does not need special majority. It is not passed by 2/3 majority. Rather, this constitutional amendment is done only by simple majority. Simple majority means you have to cross the half mark, whatever is the present, people are present. For example, there are 543 seats in Lok Sabha. And on that day, let's say 400 people came. They are present and voting. So you have to cross the half mark. Half is 200. So crossing the half mark means you need only 201 votes here. Similarly, in Raj Sabha, there are 245 members. Let's say on that day, 200 members were present. So crossing the half mark means you have to cross the half, that is 101 vote you need in favor of this. So it is a constitutional amendment, but it is done through simple majority and not through special majority. You should remember there are some constitutional amendment which can be done by simple majority. And this constitutional amendment is outside Article 368. We will discuss it because this is very, very, very important. So these are minute details that you should be knowing about. So here is the state of Kerala. And actually, I'm sure you must be aware, the capital of Kerala is Thiruvananthapuram. Thiruvananthapuram. Now, we are discussing a little bit of Kerala, about Kerala, and we will discuss in the last portion of the class about this also. Now, the official language is Malayalam. It was formed in November 1956. We have Chera dynasty there in the past. And it is famous for spices. You know, everyone knows that Kerala was famous for spices. Kerala is famous for other things also, like they are famous for spices. Today also they are famous for rubber. Largest rubber producer in entire India is Kerala. Paper, it is famous and all these things. Okay. Now you can, it is also famous for sea, coconut, tea. It is very much famous for coconut. Coffee, cashew, spices, etc. Black pepper. Natural rubber, very, very famous. And Kerala is also called as God's own country. It is famous for a lot of lakes, backwater, etc. Coconut, very famous, Ayurvedic tourism, etc. And recently the elections happened and Congress won it. So Mr. V.D. Satheesan is the Chief Minister of Kerala. Governor is Mr. Rajendra Arlikar. These two you should know. Previously, actually, we had seen Travancore King. So before it got independence, here actually there was a Travancore King. Kingdom was there, Travancore. You must be knowing about this. Okay. Now let us start how exactly the name of the states are changed in India. First, you should be knowing that we have 28 states and 8 union territory. Because this was asked in the exam. That's why we are talking about it. 28 states and 8 union territory. Now, the name of the state is changed under Article 3 of the Indian Constitution and it is done by the Parliament. So, this article is very important. Article 3 of the Indian Constitution. So, it says the Parliament may by law. So, it is the power of the Parliament. This is the keyword. To form a new state by separation of a territory from the state. Increase the area of state, diminish the area, alter the boundary, alter the name. Means you have to change the boundary of the state, increase the boundary of the state, decrease, split the state, decrease the boundary of the state, change the name of the state. And in any case, if you have to change the state name, boundary, increase the boundary, decrease the boundary, split the state. Even now, of course, from state to union territory, it was formed also, although it is not mentioned here, but practically we have seen happening in 2019. So all these things will be done by the Parliament. But Article 3 says something further. That for this, you have to initiate a bill in both the houses, in Lok Sabha and then goes to the Rajya Sabha, or Rajya Sabha and then goes to the Lok Sabha and then assent will be given by the President. But before the bill is being initiated in the Parliament, you need prior recommendation of the President. So generally what happens is, a bill is introduced either in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, then it goes to the President and the President signs it, right? But in some cases, like in case of money bill, and there are some provisions, few provisions in the Constitution, where even before introducing the bill, you need permission of the President. We use this word, prior recommendation of President is required before initiating this bill. Okay. So basically, the idea is President initiates the bill. If the bill needs to be initiated, first it is actually sent to the President. The President first give the permission that okay, you can initiate the bill in the House. Then it will go to Lok Sabha, then Rajya Sabha. Then the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha passes it. Then of course, once it is passed, again it is sent back to the President to give the assent. Okay, do not get confused between this permission and this permission. This is the assent of the bill, and this is the prior recommendation of the President before the bill is even initiated in the Parliament. In some cases, you need this. For example, even in the money bill, we need this. Okay, that's what it is. Now, once the recommendation of the President is given with regards to changing the area, boundary, name of state, etc., the President actually sends to the state legislature to ask the opinion of the state legislature on that matter. For example, if there is an increase in the area of state, decrease in the area of state, changing the name of the state, and then the state legislature of that state, that is the state legislative assembly. In some cases, I think in almost around 6 states, we are having legislative council also. Not in every state, but yes. These two actually, legislative assembly and legislative council, they give actually advice back. This is actually a non-binding opinion. We are using this word, non-binding opinion, that the state gives back to the president, that whether we are interested in changing the name of the state or boundary, etc. or not. Okay. So basically, that's why we are saying that it is the parliament who will decide this. The state legislature's non-binding opinion is taken. This is very important. The president just refer this bill that please, okay, before being initiated, that what's your opinion, whether you want to change the name of the state or not. So the legislative assembly, in most of the cases, we are having only legislative assembly. In few states, we have legislative council also. For example, in case of Kerala, we have only legislative assembly. And even this bill was initiated in 2026. Even 2 years back, legislative assembly of Kerala had actually passed a resolution by themselves that the name of the state of Kerala should be changed to Keralam. Okay, that's what you should be knowing. So, but the process is like this. Once the bill needs to be initiated, first it needs prior recommendation of the president. The president approves it, then it sends it to the state legislature for their opinion, and then after that it is introduced in the parliament, Lok Sabha, Raj Sabha, like that. Okay. But please remember this, the opinion of the state legislature in this case is just advisory. The final decision is with the Parliament of India. It is the Parliament who decides whether to change the name of the state, whether to increase the boundary, whether to split the state or not. That's the idea behind this. So when you read Article 4, it says laws under Article 2 and 3. So Article 2 is this. Parliament may by law admit into any union, establish a new state, etc. That's what they're saying. Laws made under Article 2 and 3, especially we are talking about Article 3 because it is talking about the parliament having powers to change the name of the state boundary, increase the state boundary, etc. and all. Provide for the amendment of first and fourth schedule. So basically, if you are under Article 3, it is actually a constitutional amendment, I have told you. It amends first schedule and fourth schedule. So first schedule is this. It mentions the name of all states and union territory, along with a detailed description that this state is this much area, this much size, etc. So even if you are not changing the name of the state, but you are changing the boundary, still it will be considered as amendment in first schedule. So we have 28 states and 8 union territory right now, today. So if you are doing any amendment under Article 3, it is a constitutional amendment because you are amending first schedule. Also, the fourth schedule is also being amended in some cases. For example, what is the fourth schedule? It talks about allocation of seats in Council of States. Council of States means Raj Sabha. For example, in this case, when we are changing the name of Kerala to Keralam, fourth schedule will not be affected because you are just changing the name of the state. But in case, if you are altering the boundary of the state, let's say you are, for example, around 2013-14, we had seen Telangana, the Andhra Pradesh was split, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. In that case, you have to amend fourth schedule also to provide for Raj Sabha allocation, that which state will have how many Raj Sabha seats. Yes, it does make sense because of course, when you are splitting the state, you will also have to split the allocation of seats to Raj Sabha, right? Hana, you have to give some Raj Sabha MPs to Telangana also. So in that case, even fourth schedule is also amended. But of course, in this case, when we are changing just the name of the state of Kerala to Keralam, fourth schedule will not be touched. Only first schedule will be touched because this will change the name of the state. Okay. So first, you should be crystal clear. Under Article 3, it is a constitutional amendment. This has to be very crystal clear. Any law referred in Article 2 or 3 shall contain such provision for the amendment of first and fourth schedule as may be necessary, etc. So this is actually a constitutional amendment. But now read it carefully. Article 4, Clause 2. What does it say? No such law as aforesaid mention means in the above, shall be deemed to be an amendment of the Constitution for the purpose of Article 368. This line does not mean, it is not saying that it is not a constitutional amendment. This line is not saying that it is not a constitutional amendment. It is just saying it is not a constitutional amendment under Article 368. So bottom line, yes, under Article 3, whatever we are doing is a constitutional amendment. But this constitutional amendment is not done under Article 368. This is a constitutional amendment not done under Article 368. This is very important to understand. Why? Because when you talk about Article 368, it talks about Parliament's power to amend the Constitution, and there they're using 2/3 majority. Okay. So in the Parliament, the Constitution, the idea is by default, if nothing is mentioned, no majority is mentioned, it means they are talking about simple majority. So if Article 4 is crystal clear saying that it should not be considered as a constitutional amendment under Article 368, means you are not supposed to use special majority in both the houses. You do not need special majority. It is a constitutional amendment, but this constitutional amendment can be done only with simple majority. That does what it says. You have to be very crystal clear. It is a constitutional amendment, but this constitutional amendment is not done under Article 368. This is a very important thing because a lot of people get confused. There's a lot of confusion in the books also sometimes. That's why we are clarifying it here. Okay. So we are done with this. Let's talk something about Article 1. Article 1 says India, that is Bharat, shall be union of states. We have seen a lot of argument with regards to this, that whether India is Bharat or not 2-3 years back. But yes, it is directly mentioned in the Constitution that India is Bharat. And the states and union territories are specified in first schedule. So if you are changing the name of the states, you are changing first schedule. Article 2, and that's clear. This is a very simple, nothing to read about it. So main thing you should know Article 1. The main thing you should know is Article 3 right now in this case. This is the most important. Take care. Okay. So we are done with this. So Article 3, Article 3 empowers Parliament to make laws, change, increase the name, area of the state, decrease the state, alter the boundaries, alter the name of the state. And of course, in that you amend first and fourth schedule, but this should not be considered as a constitutional amendment under Article 368. It is a constitutional amendment, but not under Article 368. That's the idea. Then of course, in that case, of course, the state legislature's opinion is also taken. The president sends the proposal to the state legislature to give the opinion whether you want to change the name of the state or not. These are the things that happens. Then of course, state legislature's view is being taken. What is your opinion? But of course, their opinion is non-binding. The Parliament is not supposed to surely follow it. They are just opinions. They can express their views. The state legislature can express their views. Whether they want to change the name of the state, whether they want to increase the name of the state, increase the area of the state, diminish the area, whether they allow the state to split or not. But all these are just opinions. They do not form veto, or they are not binding in nature. Okay. So after the state legislature gives the view, it goes to the Parliament, and in either of the house, actually it is initiated, then the bill is passed and it goes to the president. Of course, under Article 3, it is done through simple majority, because I've told you it should not be considered as a constitutional amendment under Article 368. It is a constitutional amendment, but not under Article 368. Okay? That's the idea behind this. Okay? Then of course, when the from simple majority, when both the houses passes it, the president signs it. And then after the president gives assent, it is notified by the Home Ministry. The date on which it is notified in the Gazette of India, on that date, the name of the states are changed, or whatever is the case, let's say the increase in the state boundary of the state, decrease in the boundary of the state, etc. So Gazette of India. So on 25th August 2026, 10 days after Independence Day, it was notified that Kerala is now Keralam. Okay. We have discussed Article 368 does not apply here. In the past also, we have seen in 1969, the Madras was changed to Tamil Nadu, Mysore was changed to Karnataka, Uttaranchal was changed to Uttarakhand, and in 2007, Odisha was changed to Odisha in 2011. So these are some of the past changes. Just have an idea about it. Maybe they can ask these types of questions. This is actually the short. We have discussed state legislature views taken, but its consent is not mandatory. They do not have veto power. Bill can be introduced in both the houses, not only in Lok Sabha, both the houses. Special majority is not required under 368. Rest simple majority is sufficient. First schedule and fourth schedule is relevant. First schedule and fourth schedule is amended, etc. Main power is with the Parliament of India. Okay. Let us talk something about the state of Kerala. For example, Malayalam is their official language, and recently the elections happened, and the UDF, which is a Congress-led alliance. So main it is Congress and the other parties. they have formed government. Mr. V.D. Satisan is actually the chief minister since 18th May this year. है ना? Before him, so V.D. Satisan, Indian National Congress, है ना? That he's actually from there. Before him was Pinarayi Vijayan was the chief minister till May this year. है ना? So this is the state of Kerala. है ना? Here you'll find Thiruvananthapuram. Now some few facts about it. For example, in 1498, from Portugal, Vasco da Gama had come to है ना, Kerala. Vasco da Gama, you know it. And actually he was from Portuguese. है ना? And at that time Zamorin was ruling. Zamorin was a ruler from Calicut, which is now called as Kozhikode. है ना? He was there. So Kerala is famous for a lot of things. है ना? So he had come to Calicut, which is today called as Kozhikode, and Zamorin was the ruler. Zamorin was the ruler. Calicut or Kozhikode. ठीक है. Thiruvananthapuram, official language is Kerala. Arabian Sea coastline, you know it. It is famous for a lot of lakes. Vemarad Lake is the longest lake in India. They have 3 Ramsar sites. है ना? Sastam, Kotas, Taimodigan, Vemarad Lake. Vemarad is very famous. Largest freshwater lake, you can read about it. है ना? And Naimudi is the highest peak of South Indian, highest peak of Western Ghat. You will find it in Kerala. Silent Valley National Park, you will find Periyar, was a very famous leader. है ना? Please read about Mr. Periyar. है ना? And Neelakurunchi, this was asked in NELET exam. It blossoms every 12 years, and here you will find it in Nilgiris. है ना? Here you will find Neelakurunchis on the border of Kerala, Karnataka, and Tamil Nadu. Nilgiris mountain. Neelakurunchi was asked in the NELET exam. है ना? Black pepper famous for spice trade. है ना? Literacy very famous, one of the highest literacy in India. है ना? Mohiniyattam is a very famous classical dance from here. Kathakali is also there. है ना? Onam festival is celebrated. Kerala is having the highest human development index. है ना? That's what you should know. Moziris is a very famous ancient town, ancient port city. And you know, ancient port. है ना? Kerala is also famous for snake boat races called as Vallam Kali. है ना? These are the things you should know. Travancore king was there. Vakam Satyagraha happened during the anti-British movement. है ना? So these things you should know. So I think you can read about it. Pause the video and read about this facts about Kerala. So we are stopping this class here. Please subscribe to our channel, press the like button, share this video. Thank you everyone. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.